Welcome everyone. We are going to get right into the stock market charts. If you're new to the channel, I use technical analysis to really call out where I think markets are heading. I point out trade ideas all the time, and then we manage those trades. And oftentimes in my videos, I'm following up on a lot of those trade ideas I pointed out. So we're going to get right into it. Leave me a thumbs up, guys. If you find value in this content, I do appreciate it. It does help the channel. And we'll get started. So we're going to start out with triple Qs here. Triple Qs, we've got no real movement today, but there's a couple developments I want to point out on the mega cap tech stocks. So Qs, right now I've got kind of this support level right here at 362.30, but ultimately you can see we've just been kind of heading sideways. So we need to break one way or the other. I think the probability says we break to the downside, and that's what I'm looking for. There is big negative divergences that have been building in the RSI and the PPO, telling me that we're going to break to the downside and get likely a correction. And I am expecting a broad-based market correction across the board because I'm seeing signs in lots of different sectors that we're going to get that. So that's it on the Qs, just looking for, kind of this breakdown level, 362.30. The other thing I'm watching on the Qs is the major components of that. So we'll start off with Amazon. You can see we're clearly just continuing down more today. I've got a target, kind of the support that I think that will hold at least in the short term down at 29. It's about 2,930, but from where we're at, that is still another drop of another 8 or 9%. I wouldn't expect the market to hold up if Amazon continues to sell down another 8 or 9%. So watching for that. But again, Amazon has just been in a big sideways trading range for over a year now. And we had one move above that range. If I can grab that, you can see right here, we had one move above that range right here, and that was faded, creating a bull trap, and now we're heading down to the bottom of the range. So pretty bearish price action to break out and then fail. And then also the negative divergences that have been building in Amazon for a while indicated that this breakout was likely going to fail. Doesn't mean it was guaranteed, but there was a high probability. And I talked about that all through this time frame that I thought we were going to fail. Google. Looking at Google, you can see here we've been hugging on the daily chart this trend line right here over the last couple of weeks. Basically, we're starting to break down today. It's not impulsive. I'm waiting for that impulsive break. And if we get it, then I think it's likely that Google's going to head down to the bottom of the price channel. Now, this is an ascending price channel, so it is a bullish price channel. But you can see that we've been just kind of grinding, compressing the price, where it's just been the slow, steady grind higher. And I think if we break and get a sell signal, we're going to head down to the bottom of the price channel. Okay, so things to watch on that one. Another one that's interesting, Facebook. Again, bearish rising wedge on Facebook. See the rising wedge right here? We have the bearish rising wedge. We have negative divergence building on the PPO and the RSI, and we're starting to break that trend line, but again, not impulsive. You need to see that impulsive breakdown and a daily close. You want to see it like that with the daily close below the trend line, clearly breaking down. We're not quite there yet today, but watch for that as we go into the close to see if we get that. We are below the trend line. If you look at the hourly chart here, you can see the breakdown right there. Just not, we don't have that daily close, and it's not super impulsive yet, so looking for that. Here's Apple. Apple, you have this big sideways range that we've been in. Apple's been, again, it kind of worked its way up to the top of the range. They're selling it down. No breakdown of the support line. I'm looking for a break of this 144.50 area. So that's got a little ways to go. This one's still holding up there. Negative divergences on the RSI and the PPO indicate that we're going to break down. And if we do, then this is going to be a false breakout. Kind of this area I have circled where it's just been chopping sideways. This will be a false breakout. And if we get that, I think it's very probable that we head down to the major support line, which would be around 130 or somewhere right in there. That's coming off the daily chart. You can see we held support through here, 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 and then, a tag of that. So watching for those. Microsoft, Microsoft has, I don't have it marked out, but we have some support right in here, kind of some major support. And, I would watch, if Microsoft's going to sell down, it's likely going to head down and hit this major support. The bull trend on Microsoft, there's several bull trends. We also have some good support along here. You can see we have a reaction, reaction, reaction. So that would be all the way down there at 202. And then the bull trend support, really, you have to go to the weekly to see it. But this comes off your 2009 lows, and that's all the way down here. So we could fall it even as much as, down to this 110 area and still hold the bullish trend. So things to look for in that one. That's, of course, a huge drop. And likely, that would be a 60% drop in Microsoft. Well, the market would be in a clear bear market. Sorry about that. Phone was ringing. Okay, so that is the FANGs. Okay, talking through some of these short trade ideas. Here's BLK, BlackRock. Again, I had it circled. Yesterday I talked about how we made a new divergent high, and I thought it was very likely we're going to start to see some selling very soon. And sure enough, that's what we're seeing today, down 2%, breaking down basically. And you can see here on the hourly chart, if I show you there, we recently were kind of walking up this slight trend line right there, and we're breaking that today, kind of a breakdown. So looks like the selling is about to resume in BlackRock, and I'm really targeting all the way down here at 790.78 and potentially down here at 670, but we'll start first things first, and we should find some support at 840.15 as well. So there's likely going to be a bounce there, but I think it'll be a pretty swift move down, and then we'll probably find a bounce there. Abercrombie & Fitch, ANF, you can see breaking down again today. So, clearly looks like we're, have broken our support and we're heading down to the next level. I've got that marked out at 30.44. So that's just continuing to the downside. I don't see any indication that's not going to. Here's American Eagle breaking down today. Again, these trades take time to play out. So when I point out a sell signal, which I pointed out American Eagle, the sell signal was really right here on July 16th. And you got the breakdown, and then it took several weeks basically of this consolidation right in here, and then you resolve that usually pretty quickly. You can see 4 days and it's just breaking down to new lows. That's how it goes. So every time I'll put out a video talking about a sell signal or how I think a short trade's continuing to work, sometimes you have to sit there a weekend, for a couple weeks, and then it'll resolve. And by the time it starts to resolve, people that weren't short, this is when they want to short, and that's usually the wrong time. I actually took a little bit of profit on this trade this morning here at this level right here, 30.60. I'd expect somewhat of a bounce, probably a kickback right up to that resistance, 32.66. That's likely where I'll reshort it for the move down to the next level of support, which is 25.98. So trade's looking good so far. It's a profitable trade so far. If you took the sell signal, you're profitable by about 9% so far. Okay, not sure where I left off. I had to take a quick break. We'll flip through some of these. AMG affiliated manager, you can see here, clear uptrend line. There's your sell signal. We had a sell signal, a little counter trend bounce, and I think we're likely going to start to resume the downtrend. If you look at the hourly here, you can see, I've got a lot of squiggle lines, but we were walking up this trend line right here. This is your counter trend right there, and then we broke today. So as far as I can tell, likely going to resume the downtrend. And really, for this big sell signal that we got right here back on the 28th of July, will likely start to play out. So my final target for this one's all the way down here at 118.25. That's what I got on that one. General Motors, GM, again. This one, you had the sell signal right back here, but here's your uptrend line right there. We had negative divergence building for a while. So I have that circled. There's your divergent high. Broke trend with a sell signal right there on July 6th. And just thrashed around for a while as, basically people don't realize what's going on. And then as it breaks, they start to panic sell. But you can see today, pretty impulsive breakdown, down about 5%, continuing down to the next level of support, which I think is right about 46.75. Clear level of support. We're about halfway there now, so not an objective area to short at. Again, you'd want to short right there on the sell signal was the most objective area. And that one, since I called out that sell signal on this channel, is down, as of right now, about 12% or so, with more downside likely to come. Okay, Target. Clear sell signal on Target. We've been watching this one for a while, but here's your for primary uptrend line, we broke here and created this bearish rising wedge. And so I was looking for a break of this trend line right here. There it is. I mean, we started to break it the other day and it just drifted lower. And now today the selling's becoming much more impulsive. One problem I have on taking this sell signal is it's right before earnings. So we got earnings coming out tomorrow. I'm not sure if it's after the bell or before, but earnings are coming out tomorrow. I think it's probable that the earnings gaps this thing up and we do a back test of the trend line. I have it circled right here. So maybe we're going to gap up, back test the trend line, and that is going to be the objective area to short. Earnings will be out of the way. You'll be at trend line resistance, and you'll have big negative divergences in play. So that's what I'm looking for, an opportunity potentially to short up here at 268 or wherever it hits that trend line. A pop up into that, anything really above 267.50, and that's really the objective area from my perspective. But you never know. Sometimes these things make a move before earnings and we could gap down. So if we gap down after bad earnings, likely I'll just let this thing do its thing. I'm not going to chase it. But if it does gap up into resistance, I'll take the short trade up there. And Tesla, the day's not over, but we're breaking down from this short-term upward trend line right here on the daily chart. Clear breakdown today. We'll see if they can recover this into the close. But if we don't, then we'll have a break of trendline support. And that should really set us up for a move down to 552 as the first level of support. And then down to 460, anywhere from 460 to 464 or so is the range I'm looking at. Something to look at here, Wells Fargo. You can see here clear negative divergence. So here's your March, or the financials started rallying in November of 2020. But basically, here's your upward trend line. We broke and started to drift sideways, and then we ultimately had a nice clean breakdown right there. And ever since then, we've been bouncing up. We created a secondary support line right there and ran up to new highs. So you can see we made new highs right here in this pattern from the former highs, and yet the momentum right there is less on the PPO than the former high, and the RSI is kind of an equal high of momentum from the former high right there. So that's negative divergence. It's just it's an extension of the negative divergence that really started building back here. So you'll see here we had, our momentum's been dropping off for a while. But we basically, each new high in price was a divergent high. This was a divergent high. That's a divergent high. This is another one. And then this is the last one. So negative divergence is not a reason to short. You need to wait for breaks of support. And we started to get a break right there. So there's a break. And if you shorted on that break of support, you would have had a profitable trade. You would have had a drop of about 11%. So now we created a new divergent high, and we're looking for a break of this trend line support right here. So looking at the hourly, you can see it's just starting to crack it. We'll see how the day closes. Obviously, I want to wait for that daily close on this one to see a daily break of this trend line support. And if we do, then I think it's likely that Wells Fargo is actually going to start to make its way down. Final target on this could potentially be down here at this 34 area. You can see we tagged that as major resistance back here, tagged it there, kind of popped above it here. But finally, when we broke out, let me zoom in on this. See the breakout right here, big breakout candle, and look at the volume. Let me mark that out. See that volume right there? Right there, big volume with a breakout. So it just helps to validate that level as being a key level of, a key reaction level, okay? So I would expect if we're going to get a downtrend and start to break down, it will come down. That would likely be major support. So that would be the final target. We do also have another level of support right here on this one at about 41.65. And then this trend line, I probably could move up slightly. I think it's really sitting right there at about 45.85. So those are key levels to watch for. Again, looking for that breakdown or sell signal on this trend line to set us up for a trade all the way down to 34 with bounces along the way. Okay, that is really all I've got today. It was not a whole lot changing in gold. Gold still looks bullish. Miners still look good. So I'm not really going to cover those. If you guys want me to cover anything, leave a comment below. And if you're new to this, then check out my technical analysis and trading course, link in the description below. All right, I'll catch you guys on the next one.